Throwing sports talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, heavyweight news, right? Heavyweight news. Y'all got to check it out. Heavyweight is getting a little confusing, but we could probably solve this problem. Well, you know that we have Anthony Joshua, former three-belt champion. He had every belt except the WBC. That one Deontay Wilder had the whole time, right? Anthony Joshua, he lost to Andy Ruiz, came back, beat him, then lost to Alexander Usyk, and he's trying to have the rematch early in the year. You know, soon. Should be, right? And that's the fight that's supposed to be happening. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, was supposed to be fighting Dillian Whyte, but Dillian Whyte doesn't like the 80-20% split, even though the sanctioning body told him that that's what you're going to get. Right? So he's in some kind of arbitration trying to get out of that to figure out if he can get a bigger purse versus Tyson Fury. Bottom line is both of them fights might not happen. But both of them fights might not happen because you have an undisputed fight in the air. Just like, remember Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua were supposed, Tyson Fury was contracted to fight Deontay Wilder, but he was always talking about him and Anthony Joshua, and they was almost done, and the people, over in Saudi Arabia was ready for the fight and all that stuff, and it was already signed and all that. Well, this is similar. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for undisputed is still on the cards, guys. Still on the cards because Anthony Joshua is rumored to be willing to take 15 million, I think pounds though. 15 million pounds, and Dillian Whyte is willing to take 5 million pounds to step aside. We're listening to the promoter of both of Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. The money might be there. So, if that's the case, then, hey, you might have the undisputed fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. Now, should these guys step aside? I would say probably yes. And the reason why then we can finally have undisputed, which we've been trying to get the whole time. I would have liked it to be between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder way back, but they dropped the ball, and I ain't gonna say they, man. I really can't do that. Anthony Joshua didn't want that fight. That's what's bottom line. I can't just, act like it was they. It wasn't. I don't know what else I would have been able to ask Deontay Wilder to do back then with the negotiation with Anthony Joshua. There's nothing else I could have asked him to do because he was willing to go there to England and willing to take flat fees and all kind of stuff. What else is you supposed to ask of a champion, the longest reigning champion, to do? So, whatever. But it didn't happen. It was the big fight. Number one fight would have been the biggest fight in British history. All of that back then. We dropped the ball then. So, hey, I just want to see somebody get undisputed and nothing gets in the damn way. There's always something in the way. So, if they can go and get undisputed, what Anthony Joshua could do in the meantime, he could be trying to fight Deontay Wilder. Shoot, they both coming off losses, right? That's still a fight. Anybody want to see that one? I would. And here's a fight I want to see more than any of these fights. And I hate to be it because it won't even be a title. I still want to see Dillian Whyte versus Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz more than any other heavyweight fight. I know that sounds funny, but for me, that would get my juices flowing. Almost like Canelo Alvarez and Demetrius Andrade or something like that. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. Or actually, more so, Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao. Get your juices flowing. I'm talking about weeks before the fight and all that. Dillian Whyte versus Louis Ortiz is, to me, the biggest heavyweight fight. I think that everybody, and here's the deal about it, like I'm going to keep saying, been saying it for years. The winner of that fight doesn't have to say nothing. The whole world would say the winner of that fight needs to fight whoever the champion is. That's what would happen. Ortiz and Dillian Whyte, the world would say the winner needs to fight whoever the champion is. And see, the reason why I'm saying these fights, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, which is we still kind of want to see, and Dillian Whyte versus Louis Ortiz, is because if they fight for undisputed, we don't know how that's going to play out. And sometimes, if somebody doesn't get beat convincingly, then there might be a rematch. And in that time, imagine. I'm going to do it for people who would like to see this scenario. Say Anthony Joshua beats Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte beats Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. I wouldn't want to see that happen, but if it did, then we still got a good fight between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. In the meantime, because Usyk and Tyson Fury might fight twice. And in that time, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's a whole bunch of fights. That's the scenario I would like to see. But let's just see what happens. At the end of the day, it's not over. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk is still on the cards. It's not over yet. Let's see what happens going forward. If I find out anything, I will let y'all know. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And it's time to watch some hoops, y'all. And I'm up out of here.